Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. Let's start this video off with some recent updates of Nick Walker, the second place finisher at the 2023 Arnold Classic. Nick is looking pretty good in these updates. The one on the left is the most recent, the one on the right is from about 5 days ago. And in the caption of this post, Nick said he's currently sitting around 257 pounds. After the show, he ate a lot of food, but once he got back home, he cleaned it up. His main goal this year is to keep his waist as tight as possible and also grow in the areas that need improvement. I would guess mostly the chest and the quad sweep. Nick said one thing about him: once he loses, it will be a long time before it happens again. And I would say taking second at the Arnold Classic somewhat humbled Nick Walker. I wouldn't say Nick is cocky at all. He's more confident, and he should be. He won the Arnold Classic, the New York Pro, top 5 in his first Olympia, top 3 in his second Olympia. But usually when a guy this determined takes an L, he's going to come back with a crazy look. And in the next update of the day, we have a recent update from Derek Lunsford. And the fact that he looks like this in March, we still have a lot of months to go into the Mr. Olympia. That's pretty scary. This guy can improve a lot between now and the Mr. Olympia. But Derek did not do the Arnold Classic, but him and Honey Rambod were there in person. And they weren't just there evaluating the physiques trying to see who was going to win. I'm pretty sure they're looking at these guys like, all right, we can improve here to match this guy in this shot. We can improve here. Derek Lunsford and Honey Rambod were watching the Arnold Classic, sitting back playing chess, seeing exactly where Derek needs to improve. Now switching over to Quinton Eriya, he recently posted up some pretty impressive updates. Not sure what Matt Jansen is feeding this guy, but he's definitely growing. And this picture is taken at a slightly diagonal angle to make Quinton look a little bit better. And you can throw him in that same boat with Samson Dowda, Andrew Jack, and that's probably because they all have those Nigerian genetics. But Quint may not compete this year. He doesn't want to qualify and go to the Mr. Olympia just to place. Quint wants to win, so we may see him on stage this year, maybe next year. Whenever it is, I'm looking forward to it. This guy has a very bright future. I believe Quint is still in his 20s, by the way. Now switching over to Shaun Clarida. This was posted up by TFE Media, a comparison of Shaun from the Olympia to the Arnold Classic. And I was saying, I don't think Shaun brought his all-time best to the Arnold Classic. He seemed to be a little bit off, maybe 5% in my personal opinion. But from this video, midsection did look a little bit washed out, and maybe Shaun could have used a little bit more oil. But you guys let me know in the comment section below, was Shaun better at the O or at the Arnold Classic? Now switching over to Charles Griffen, who recently posted up an update. If I'm not mistaken, Charles is out of his health phase and should be going into his offseason. Charles and Matt Jansen did great work last year, taking second at the Indy Pro to Blessing Awodibu and winning the Cali Pro. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to be able to do this year. And unfortunately, we did not get to see Charles Griffen in that Arnold Classic lineup. He pulled out of the show, wanted to take a little bit of time off to focus on physical and mental health. But I really wanted to see this guy next to William Bonac. That's a comparison I've been wanting to see for a while. And in the next update of the day, we have a recent update from Behrooz Tabani, who is coached by Milos. And Behrooz actually qualified for last year's Olympia by winning the Romania Pro, beating out Brett Wilkin. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to get a visa in time to compete at the show. And that's really tough. Behrooz has worked very hard for years. He wins a pro show, finally earns the opportunity to go to the Mr. Olympia, and he can't even get there. But if I'm not mistaken, he should be competing in the Arnold Classic Brazil. I think I read that somewhere, but don't quote me on that. Now switching over to Horse MD, who is also coached by Milos. This video was Arnold Classic weekend. Horse is looking pretty good in these updates, pretty big. I think overall he may need a little bit more hamstring. And hopefully we get to see Marcelo on a bodybuilding stage this year. He's always around Ramon, Dino, Rafa, Brandao. This guy has to be burning to hop on a bodybuilding stage. Now switching over to Iain Valliere. This update is courtesy of Buys and Tries over on Instagram. Iain Valliere recently stopped working with Coach Patrick Tour and is now working with Coach Matt Jansen. Now when a guy leaves a guy like Patrick Tour, I consider Patrick a top 5 coach in today's bodybuilding world. I would question it, but going to Matt Jansen or Honey Rambod, I wouldn't question it at all. Those two guys are absolutely killing it right now, and I think Iain Valliere will make some good improvements. Now switching over to Blessing Awodibu, who recently posted up an update. Blessing has not put out any competition plans yet. And actually, I don't think this is a recent update because Blessing has some pretty good separation in those quads. As we all know, the quads are probably the area he needs to bring up the most. So right now, those quads should be pretty full right now, not seeing much separation. But hopefully Blessing does bring the legs up this season. Now, in the next update of the day, we have a recent update from Keone Pearson, who is looking absolutely massive. And Keone is coached by Patrick Tour, by the way. And Keone's feedback from the judges was he needs a thicker back. I also believe he can bring up the chest to match those massive arms. And of course, come in more conditioned. The Mr. Olympia was his best package to date, however. I've been predicting Keone in the top 5 every year since he's been in 212. Hopefully it happens this year. Now switching over to Seth Feroce. Seth has finally announced he will be making a comeback in the men's physique division. But all jokes aside, Seth is looking pretty good in these updates. And honestly, everyone talks about Seth coming back. I always say he probably isn't. He could probably hop on stage looking like this and win a master show not doing anything. And I also wanted to share these images of Big Ramy to anyone who hasn't seen them yet. I've talked about the Arnold Classic and I've ranted about Big Ramy for long enough, so I'll leave that alone. And these images have been sharpened just a little bit to see more detail on the physique, but I still wanted to share them. Now let's end this video here with the archive of the day. You guys let me know in the comment section below, who is this legendary bodybuilder? As always, I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm Shaun from Go Fitness, and that's it. I'm out.